I think when it comes to week 0, I almost want to shy away from games involving highly ranked teams, big programs, because first off, naturally, these are going to be sharper. We know that. But I also think because it's week 0 and we have, say, less information to go off of, that the difference between big games and small games in terms of sharpness, I think that's a lot bigger than it is, say, the rest of the regular season. So week 0, I think the difference between sharp numbers is a lot bigger between the haves and the have-nots versus, say, the rest of the regular season where we have more data, more information, and we have naturally sharper numbers across the board.
That's interesting. I really didn't factor that in or consider that when I was looking at mine, but the two overall themes that I took a look at was, for example, a big name school who has somewhat of a cupcake type game. You've got to think that maybe the bigger name school is going, or the better team, I should say, is going to try to put it on the other team early and then evaluate their backups and see what they have once the game gets out of hand. The other thing I took a look at was returning starters. I think specifically in week 0, while other teams are trying to play catch up and gel and get some consistency going, I think the teams that have a lot of starters coming back might get off to a better start. Not to say that's how things are going to end when all things are said and done, but maybe in week 0 or there's those first few weeks, the teams that the players know each other, they've been playing together, they've got a lot of returning starters, that maybe they will have a little bit of an edge week 0. The first one I took a look at was Navy at Notre Dame. 20.5 is the spread. I want to take the points with Navy. I think the Midshipmen, they're returning 78% of offensive line. They've got a bunch of guys coming back. We already know that offense is going to be a well-oiled machine. So I think that, the Notre Dame, their run defense is still a work in progress from what I was reading, and they've got some things to figure out. They've got a new coordinator on offense. You've got Sam Hartman there. He's really good, but I was expecting maybe Navy to come out better than people are expecting. Obviously a bigger spread at 20.5, but I think I'll be on Notre Dame. I'll be on Navy plus the points.
Most bet teams, so handle more money on them. Lions plus 6.5, so in that opener. But then the Chiefs are number 3 at minus 6.5. So that's going to be a pretty good day for the books. They're just going to get the juice on either side. Eagles minus 4.5 at the Pats is another popular money play. And then when you look at totals, Chiefs Lions, no surprise, over 54.5, very popular. Dolphins Chargers over 50.5. Bills Jets over 46.5. And then unders, Packers Bears under 44.5. Cardinals Commanders under 38.5, very low total. And 49ers Steelers under 40.5. Any of those speak to you?
Bills Jets 46.5 is intriguing to me because I get that Buffalo should have a fantastic defense, and the Jets have a fantastic defense, and that's great. But sometimes elite quarterback play does max out what the defenses can do. This is potentially a shootout. And yeah, it is a divisional game, and divisional games tend to be lower scoring. But would you also be surprised if this one hits 51 or something like that, where Rodgers and Allen are sort of going back and forth? Like, there is a avenue to that. So that over makes a ton of sense to me. As far as unders, I get Cardinals Commanders being under 38.5 is highly touted, but I don't know. That is a very low number, and it wouldn't take much to hit the over there. And not that I'm opposed to betting on unders in games, but that one feels odd.
What about the over in Niners Steelers? I don't know. That's one I got to look at a little bit closer. Aaron, you were going to say something.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually interested in the Lions at Chiefs because we have talked about maybe the Chiefs getting off to a slower start. So I could see the Lions covering in that game. I could see why a lot of people have been betting that. Well, most bet teams tickets is -6.5. So that's crazy. Okay, so most bet teams versus like tickets is Chiefs -6.5 and Lions +6.5.
Yeah.
How is that possible? So
Just
this is
everyone's
people must be
betting that
torn.
first game.
Yeah.
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 right.
Yeah. Who has impressed you, whether it's someone we could look at from a season-long player prop perspective or just game to game? What has stood out to you so far that you've seen in training camp?
Yeah, Hawk, I'll take the running backs on this. I think Brian Robinson is going to surprise a lot of people from not only a rushing yard perspective. I mean, remember, he got shot twice in the leg last year, missed the first 4 games, took him a couple of games to get the oil running through the engine. And I know his numbers, to fantasy players and maybe over-unders and bettors and in the different markets weren't as impressive. But when you watch him in games, when you watch him, especially in games, you see him dragging people left and right. You see him getting yards after contact. So I would always bet maybe, depending on what the over-unders are established at per game, per year, what have you, on a guy like Brian Robinson. And guys, I'm telling you, I think he's going to be a way, 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 way more involved receiver this year than he was certainly last year, and then the book on him at Alabama. So if you can get a really good number in a market on receptions, on yards, on receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, I would absolutely hammer that on Brian Robinson Jr.
Blake Snell, another great outing for him. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs allowed, 5 strikeouts, and a victory over a very good Baltimore Orioles team. Currently has the second shortest odds. Again, per BetMGM, he is at +250. Only Zach Gallen has shorter odds at +180. That's largely stayed the same, give or take, since our last conversation. Logan Webb, hope you guys capitalize off of that advice, because he's down to 3-1. Spencer Strider 7-1, Justin Steele at 9-1, and everyone else is at 33 or longer. So let's say that there are essentially 2 to 3 tiers here. You've got your +180 to 9-1, and then you've got your 33s with Corbin Burns and Zach Wheeler, and then after that, everyone has quite long odds. Is there a tier that you're eyeing here, Aaron?
No, I still think it's going to be these guys bunched up at the top. Justin Steele is someone I wrote down yesterday, but he's another guy who has a forearm strain, and he missed about a month's time. So I don't know if that's going to hurt him. If he continues to pitch well, maybe it won't. I tend to think this might still go to Zach Allen. I mean, he's just been so solid. He's been one of the best starters in the NL, and I just think he's a front runner for a reason.